Hey everybody, welcome to the Ron Line Report. Today is a very special preview of the Tampa Pro coming up in a couple days. Joining with me to talk about it is, all the way from the UK, Giles, Tiger, Thomas. Welcome, sir.
How you doing, Ron?
Well, Giles, this is sad. It's going to be kind of sad in Tampa because you're not going to be there. Last year, Rosie was competing, and you were there, and you were very kind enough to help me out with some of the wrap-ups and stuff like that. And, you know, it's always just cool to have you around. But no Giles this time. But I did recruit Big Mike Cox to fill in for you. Yeah.
Good move.
He'll take a special interest in women's bodybuilding and women's physique, which is good. You know, I throw him some of those interviews. He'll do a good job.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the show. The first thing I want to talk about is an unknown. I texted Sergio Oliva Jr. yesterday because I know he wanted to get to the Olympia, and he's not qualified yet. So I said, Sergio, you doing Tampa? IDK, which is short for I don't know. So I don't know if he really doesn't know if he's doing it or if he just wants to pull a big surprise on everybody and show up. Ha-ha, here I am. I don't know.
I think he's going to show up. I think he's going to show up. I think he's he likes to play the whole. I like a lot of this antics with Michael Lockett recently. I'm starting to. I think something's fishy. I think it's all. I think there's a bit of theatrics there, deliberate theatrics. I think it's all. I think he sees it as good sport and good kind of promotion, and I think they're in on it. I think. I think he knows how to play the old social media and everything, and I think this is his way of entertaining the fans.
Or he might not be doing it, but I mean, if he wasn't doing it, I think he would just come out and say, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I texted Victor, because Victor was thinking about it too, and he immediately let me know he wasn't doing it. But I'd love to see him in it. You know, I like to see lineups with a lot of great people, so I hope he is in it. It would make it a lot more interesting.
But what possible reason could he have for not knowing if he's on the level?
Oh, I think he knows. I'm sure he knows whether or not it's a Monday before a contest. It's judged on a Saturday morning. I think you would know whether you're doing it or not. I just think he wants to keep us in suspense. I like the drama. Yeah, he's trying to make this more exciting, and I get that, and that's cool. That's cool. It can be a bloody tedious sport, as you know. So let's look at let's assume he's not in the show. So we won't really talk about him because he didn't confirm it. My pick, which was also my pick to win Vancouver, and I was wrong. It ended up being Lucas Oslado, who won in Vancouver. But I said it was going to be Alexis Rivera from Puerto Rico. Pictures of this guy, he's looking nuts right now. Just crazy big, round, full, shredded. I'm a fan of this guy. I'd like to see him. He was second in that show. He was second at this show in 2016, Tampa Pro. Hasn't done a lot of pro shows, but he's very good. You familiar with Alexis?
I'm not really that familiar with him because the main reason is he's not really done any high-profile shows.
Right.
It's like I wasn't really aware of Rodriguez until he did the Arnold Classic, even though he'd come third at the New York Pro last year. It's like that's why there is a benefit to doing these high-profile shows because it gets you on the map.
Right.
Now, until today, I hadn't really seen that many pictures of Alexis Rivera. But everyone is raving about him and picking him for the win. So he's obviously he's got a nice shape, but I can only tell so much for a couple of pictures. But it's very unusual. Someone going in as a favourite for a show escapes my eye.
So like you said, he hasn't done a lot of shows. You know, there's actually not many people on this list who have done a lot of shows. And when you don't get your name out there and do high-profile shows, or even just a good amount of shows, you can kind of be somewhere under the radar where people don't, a lot of fans and even people like, if Giles Thomas doesn't really know who you are, there's a problem, you know, because you do a pretty good job of following along with all these guys and the shows. So let's look at some other top names. Max Charles, who was second at this show last year to Josh Lenartowicz.
Yep.
Max looks really good. I mean, I've seen him a couple times this year. He was third at the Muscle Mayhem show. You know, he's always in the mix. When he's in shape, and he nails it most of the time, he's pretty damn good. His upper body is nuts. Lower body not quite as crazy. It doesn't match exactly, but it's getting there. But, Max is certainly, the guy was second place last year, and the lineup was at least as strong. He could certainly pull this off. Yeah.
Max has he's had a bit of a slow start to the year, hasn't he? Because he was really sort of the back of the pack. He's kind of doing what Tony Freeman used to do. He would start off and he maybe had a good placing at the Olympia, and then he would come in and he'd kind of get like seventh in a sort of medium level pro show. Yeah. And what Max has done, he's managed to just climb up and up and up and up. And then he was it the Muscle Mayhem, wasn't it, where Charles Griffin won. Akim got second, and he really kind of redeemed himself. He really kind of looked big, full, hard. So I think he's coming for the win. I really think he is. I think he's one of these guys that just, I think maybe sometimes they mistime their peak and they realize they need a few more weeks prep, and then they kind of train and grow into the show. I mean, if he's looking better than he did at the Muscle Mayhem, then I don't really see how he could really not win this.
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't be coming into this show, you know, one of the last Olympia qualifiers, if he wasn't here to absolutely win. He wouldn't have carried on prepping all that time. Yeah. And obviously, the Muscle Mayhem show has probably given him a boost of confidence. And he's thought, right, okay, maybe I just need to dig in a few more weeks. And then, you know, well, I'm expecting to see the best version of Max Charles we've ever seen for this show.
Yeah, like you said, this is a long season. For people that have started off the year at the Arnold and they're still going, God bless them. I mean, like just Justin Rodriguez, we saw him at the Arnold. 7th place. He was in pretty good shape there. He did the Indy Pro 5th, 3rd in New York, 3rd in Chicago. So he's been dieting all year too, and I think he's sharpening up and getting better. And he obviously wants to get to the Olympia.
Yeah.
I don't think he's someone you could say is you can't write him off either. Justin's good enough to win.
Justin really impressed me at the Arnold. He got 7th there. And then he looked really good at the Arnold, and then he kind of dipped off, didn't he? Started to sort of decline. Yeah. And then the last show, he kind of pulled it back a bit, and he was starting to look really, really good again. So, I mean, it's funny because up till a few days ago, it was like, right, this is the Sergio versus Victor show. Yeah. And now I'm thinking it's the Justin versus Max show.
Alexis, so let's throw Alexis in there. Yeah.
Alexis, yes. See, there's, so that's probably going to be the top 3, isn't it? I mean, but I really like Justin's physique. To be honest, he was probably, along with Kamal, he was like the big shock of the Arnold for me in a good way. You know, he really brought his legs up and everything was a bit more balanced. And I thought, shit, this guy really belongs in these big, you know, first level shows, you know? So but things with Justin, it's all down to condition because his physique is good now. It's really good. Last year I thought he needed a bit more leg sweep and there's a few areas that he needed to work on. But now he's kind of got the size, he's got the balance. He just needs to nail that condition. And it's I mean him, Alexis and Max. I mean that is going to be that's as good as a top 3 you'll see in any show. You know,
we got some other good guys. I had never seen this Russian guy, Sergey Kulayev. I think it was actually his pro debut with Chicago a few weeks back, and very, very impressed with him in 4th place because I never go by the pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all that because you know everybody looks great by themselves. Yeah. But on stage, he held his own with Sergio and Lockett and these other guys, and yeah, I mean I don't know if he's necessarily in it for the win, but he's definitely going to be, especially if he's a little sharper because his condition was really good in Chicago. If he's that sharp or sharper, he'll definitely be in first call out and fighting with these guys. And then we got last year we were in Tampa and saw Rashid Oldikar make his pro debut and get 8th. Big, monstrous. What was he, like 280 or something? He's huge.
Yeah, he reminded me of. I mean, that guy's in the mold of like Bertel Fox, Ronnie Coleman type muscle and thickness. And he came out and I was like, holy shit. I was like, he's just like a diamond in the rough. He's got so much thickness. He's got crazy legs, but he just needed to, through refinement and kind of like tidy his physique up, he needed a bit more detail and like a bit more taper. And I was thinking, and I said to you, I was sat next to you and I said, when that guy, you know, brings his taper out, maybe brings the waist in, you know, maybe just by putting more size on his shoulders and sharpens up and gets that deep like conditioning. I mean, he was so huge. I took a video with my phone. I was so impressed with him. And I was like, this guy, I mean, maybe a case of maybe getting with a good sort of prep guru that will really dial him in because, you know, these guys sometimes, you know, when they've got all the size and they're not getting the condition right, you know, when you think about like the early days of like Ronnie and Nasser, they weren't even placing in pro shows because they were guys that had size, but they didn't have that detail and conditioning. Right. And then they hook up with someone that, brings them into really, really good condition. And it's like, and they start wiping the floor with everyone. So there's a guy that, it literally comes down to conditioning and well, I think taper as well, which will come with, time and training and development. Yeah. But there's a guy with like real raw potential.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm excited to see him.
If he's a lot tighter than last year, and more maturity to the muscles, he's going to be scary. Much smaller in comparison to Rashid was An Nyung from, I think he's from California, but he was 5th place last year in Tampa. Just beautiful shape, symmetry, balance on this guy. I just remember the shoulder to waist taper, the quad sweep on him.
His legs.
Legs were nuts, I don't think that I hope this doesn't come across as racist, but have you ever seen like an Asian pro with bad legs?
No.
I've never. They all have great legs, all of them.
Do you not remember that classic guy? His name's Branch Chen.
No, his name is Branch.
Branch Chen. He does classic. He does classic because I said he's I said he's Branch Chen Amino. I said his name
Branch Chen Amino.
Branch Chen. He was. Me and Rosie put him in one of the early episodes of Muscle News Weekly, like the 2nd or 3rd one we ever did. Yeah. And he's classic, and he's just. I mean, he's got a good upper body, but it's like his legs are just. And he's Asian. He's I don't want to say Chinese or Korean or something. And this guy's legs, they've got like a mind of their own. It's You're right. It's like calves. I mean, oh God, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, no, I've never seen Koreans. I've never seen a Korean with small calves ever.
No,
they all have great calves. Something. Are they walking upstairs on their tiptoes from an early age? I don't know. But, all right, that's enough Asian remarks for one show. We're saying nice things about you guys. Come on, let's relax. UK's James Hollingshead, who just made his pro debut over in Portugal. James needed to be a little tighter, as we know, but he's got all kinds of size, great shape, and he's had, I think it was that 2 weeks ago, was that show, Portugal?
Yeah.
So he's had time. He's had time to tighten up. Who does James work with? I know Jordan does his training. Does Jordan prep him too?
I believe so. Okay. I believe so. Yeah. Now, because obviously James turned pro by winning the super heavyweights and the overall at the UKBFF British Finals last year. So he only turned pro last October. He is still, I think he's still under 30. I think he was a junior in 2009.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, no, later.
Wow.
Yeah, it was later. Okay. No, sorry, 2000. The year Rosie won the British. 2012, he was a junior.
Okay.
He came second to Jack Stockel in the juniors at the 2012 British Finals. So 6 years on, he's probably about 28, 29. So he's got time on his side. He's put a lot of size on by working with JP. Yeah. And like I said, Portugal was a last-minute decision, so I don't think he had any expectations going in. He has put on a lot of size since he turned pro, but it all comes down to that conditioning. Because, but like I said, I've seen guys drop 10 pounds in 2 weeks, and really tighten up. So if maybe he just went in as he was, no depletion, no carb, a carb load, no sort of water drop. I think he just went in as is. So with a proper, depletion and everything like that, I mean, it'd be interesting to see. I'd like to see him. I think when you're doing a pro show, 8-10 months after you've turned pro, I think if you're going to go to an overseas show, I think really like top 10 is a really, really good achievement. So if he can make top 10 at this show, I think James is going to be happy. But like I said, he's one of these guys. He's tall, he's wide, he's got good balance, he's not missing anything. So if it comes down, he does get good condition. I've seen him when he won the British Finals as a junior, and as a super heavyweight. He won it twice, 2014 and 2017. He's impressive, but like I said, he's one of these guys. It's one of these guys to maybe give to maybe another couple of years. But he's realistic, and I think he's one to watch. He's one to watch. But I think I would love to see him. I'd love to see him squeeze in the top 10 for this show.
He has something else in common with Dorian Yates. Is before he puts the fake tan on, he's got the purest alabaster skin, almost like an albino. It's the pastiest skin I've ever seen. Sorry, James, it's true. But the tan, luckily we can all paint the fake tan on and we're good. So
He's a British Dennis Wolf.
yeah, Dennis Wolf. Dorian said he's a half a chromosome away from being an albino. I think that's accurate. Very close. Just doesn't have the pink eyes.
Yeah.
And honorable mention, Brad Rowe. Just because Brad, always consistent, shows up in shape every single time. He's a trooper. The guy just does show after show after show.
He looked good at his last show. He looked good. He got 5th.
Yeah, he was 5th in Chicago, and that wasn't a weak lineup. So
yeah, and the thing is, you can always depend on the guys that always come in condition. I mean, I really like Brad's physique. I like the fact he's never kind of bloofed it out. It's kind of he's kind of got that kind of separation that you see a lot of the guys have when they're amateur, and then when they turn pro, they start changing things. And maybe put 20, 30 pounds, and they lose. And yes, they get bigger and more impressive, but for me, they lose that quality. So what I like about Brad is I like that crisp, really crisp separation, and I think it is a healthy look. It's kind of like the look that you maybe see from some of the classic guys who aren't pushing the envelope as much. But I like the fact that he's never kind of gone that route because he has his own interest. He has all the TV work and stuff like that. Yeah. He's a good-looking guy. He looks healthy. He looks he looks healthy. And I think I like his. For me, he stands out for that reason.
Yeah, this is neither here nor there, but I follow him on social media. He's talked about after the Olympia, or after he's doing one more show after the Olympia, he's going to take something like 6 months off. He wants to trim down, take his body weight down like 30, 40 pounds and like be more athletic looking, give his body a real break, which none of these other guys would even dare to do that. They'd be like, oh my God, no, can't do it. No,
the thing is though, when you come back to it and you you might get different sorts of TV and promotional work that and thing is, you've got the classic now. So if he wanted to cut, if he slims down and thinks, do you know what, I feel so much better at this weight. I find my life is easier, and I'm more in love with my training because I feel better. Now we've got this option that they can jump into things like classic. Regan Grimes did it. Right. It's like, and it's good that we've got all these different categories now because it gives guys like Brad options where, I can't. He's not very tall, is he, Brad?
I want to say 5'10", 5'11". To me, that's tall. Not to you, obviously, but
I thought he was around 5'7", 5'8". So I was thinking maybe go 212. But he's obviously. What would he be on stage? 230, 240?
I believe he's around 235, 240 on stage.
In my head, I had him as a little bit shorter.
He pulls a vacuum. He's got a small. He doesn't have like a tiny little tiny hips or anything, but he's able to. He keeps his midsection very small. He pulls a vacuum in his front double bicep and a lat spread and all that. Surely
he can't be too over the classic limit.
For that height, I think you have to be, as a pro. For like 6 foot, they bumped it up. Like Bumstead has to be, I think 225 is a limit for 6 foot. So maybe it's like 215 for him. Yeah, I'm sure he could do it with, Do you
know what? I bet you, if he slims down after the Olympia and everything, after these shows, I would not be surprised to see him come back as a classic. In fact, I think he'd be a perfect fit for the class.
I think so too, and he's done quite a bit, and he's proved his point as an open bodybuilder.
Yeah.
What are you sticking your hand at me for? But but if I were him, I'd give that a shot. Why not? Look how well it worked out for Regan.
He could do probably men's physique.
Oh, come on now, men's physique. All right. Yeah, we have to say we're looking at the score sheets for this show, and it said classic men instead of classic physique. They wrote it out as classic men's physique, so we were a little confused there. But it was classic physique. Let's not get it twisted. So let's talk about the 212 show. My pick for the win. How old is this kid? 24. Nicholas Villiud. 25. He's. I just interviewed him. I should know this, but
I did as well. I always get his name wrong and his age wrong.
He's around 24, 25 at the most. I know that, and he just took. He's only done 2 pro shows. That's it. He was 3rd at the Charlotte Pro last year that Milan Sadic won, and he just took 2nd at the Portugal 2. Arguably one of the best 212s in the world, Hadi Chupan.
There's no shame in that, is there?
If you're going to lose to somebody, I'd be like, okay, well, I lost to Hadi Chupan. Who'd you lose to? And he held his own. He's been putting up a ton of pictures, comparison-wise, and it's not like Hadi blew him away.
Yeah, there was only one pose that Hadi really annihilated him on, and that was the rear double bicep, because Nicholas, he lacks like lower back and lower lat thickness. It looks thick and wide when he does a rear lat spread, but when he does a rear double bicep, it kind of, his back kind of disappears a little bit. Yeah. So he is working on that. I was at the gym last night messaging him, and he has flown out with his mum today, because I said to him, because when Nicholas got second at Portugal, first thing I did is I messaged him and I messaged Patrick Tour, his coach, and I said, "Oh my God, please," because he was on about doing Open next year, and I said, "Please, he's got to do it. He's got to be in the Olympia this year, the 212 Olympia." I said, "Otherwise, this is going to be his last 212 show, and we're not going to see how good a 212 he is." You know, and being so young, it might take him 2 or 3 years to climb up in the Open. So I was like, "Look, just get him to Tampa." That's what I said. I said, "Do whatever you have to do, get him to Tampa." And he was like, "Well, it's money." So I said, "Okay, well, speak to your sponsor, MHP, Gerard Dente, and see." I said, because at the end of the day, they're going to want you. I says, "I can't see anybody beating you if you go to Tampa." I says, "You could be top 5 Olympia material this year." I got a feeling, I think he's going to win Tampa. Yeah. And I would be very, very, very surprised if he didn't come around 5th to 8th at the Olympia.
I agree.
Yeah, I think the top 4 is too stacked. I don't think you got guys like the top 4 guys, like Flex and
you got Ahmad Ashkenani, you got Jose, you got Dave Henry, Derek Lunsford.
Yeah, he's not even probably. I could see him though. I could probably see him even in first call out, but I think 5th to 8th would be an absolutely amazing achievement. And I said to Patrick, Patrick, I know he wants to go Open, and I know he really struggled to get down to 212 this year, because he was ready. I mean, he said those last 4 weeks were torture. He was ready at like 230. Yeah. He was ready. And I mean, Patrick sent me a detailed voicemail of how he brought him down through, without going into detail, it was all aspects of diet, everything. It was all a case of reducing all of them to basically bring him and get him lit, because he weighed in 211.9.
Wow.
Yeah, so he made.
You could say the same thing about Flex Lewis, though, because to me, Flex Lewis looks absolutely ready around 225, 230.
Yeah, he is.
3-4 weeks out when he puts up pictures. And I'm always bummed. I hate to keep repeating this, but every time I see Flex Lewis at the Olympia, I'm like, because I was used to seeing how full and round he looked, and Andy was shredded. It's not like the condition wasn't there yet.
No, he's ready. So, I mean, I was talking to Flex. Yesterday, and I talk to Flex most days, and he was saying, he says, I outgrew the 212 class after the first year I won it. Yeah. So every single year I've had to cut muscle and weight to really make. He says, I'm kind of ready at 220. He says, so I'm having to strategically lose weight to get down to the 212. So you're not seeing the best version of Flex. So my point is with Nicholas, I said, whatever you need to do, I said, please get him to the Olympia this year by getting him to Tampa, because I believe he will win, and I think he'll win quite clearly. Yeah. I said, plus I want the American fans to see him, and I want people just to see how good this kid is. And then next year, still keep him as a 212. And I think if he gets a good placing at the Olympia this year, I mean, I think he'll win Tampa. Yeah. I think that'll encourage him to hold back and stay 212, because he probably would be quite a good Open. I mean, he's probably an inch shorter than Branch Warren. He's 2 inches shorter than Dexter. Yeah. He's an inch shorter than William Bonac. So that's encouraging for him to be a good Open. But I said right now at this age, 24, 25, please just keep him 212 and do whatever it takes to keep him down into that 212, and then decide where to go from there. Because, like you said, he took second to like Hadi Chupin. I mean, and Hadi was at his all-time best, and Hadi didn't blow him away. He beat him, but he didn't humiliate the kid. You know what I mean? It was like like you said, if you're going to get beat by anyone, you're going to get beat by Flex Lewis, Hadi Chupin. Hadi's
the guy that's so good. You saw him almost beat Cedric at Cedric's very best in San Marino. Huge controversy in Korea last year, because a lot of people thought he should have beat Flex Lewis. I'm not saying that. Flex seems to be upset with me, Giles. You got to put in a good word for me. Flex thinks I'm talking crap. I love you, Flex. I love you, Flex. I think you're the greatest. You're the greatest 212 bodybuilder of all time, Flex. I would never disrespect you. I've never said anyone's going to beat him. But yeah, I think he's upset with me. Anyway.
You know what? He's got his diet head on at the moment, so give him some leeway.
Yeah, I mean, once the show's over, everybody's a different person. Everyone's like, oh, hey, buddy. Anyway.
Give him a slice of cheesecake and he'll love you again.
So we should talk about some. I do think Nicholas is going to win 212. There are some other good people. Lloyd Dollar, who I never paid a lot of attention to until Chicago because he's always been somewhere around 9th to 15th kind of guy. He just started working with the great Jose Raymond fairly recently, and he dialed in his condition. He was very strong 4th place in the 212 in Chicago, and I was the first time I ever really paid attention to the guy. So he's going to be in the mix. And we also have the debut of Kevin Levroni's athlete, goes by the name of Flex Diesel. His real name is Dektrick Lewis. Dektrick just won.
How'd you get that?
Where did you get Flex Diesel? I mean, I told him, you got to change your name because Flex is already, there's a couple of Flexes. Diesel is Juan Morel. Oh, well, we're trying to think of a new nickname for him. I mean, he's good. He just won the 35 in overall and the 40 in overall at the Universe, that used to be called Team Universe. So he's 40 years old, and this is going to be his first pro show. But he's put together, this guy. He's got some good size and shape.
So Kevin LeBron's prepping people now?
No. He sponsors him.
Oh, okay.
He's one of Levroni Levroni supplements, Levroni Signature Series. This is his male athlete. He's got a few females, I believe. Also should mention, Silvio Samuel is going to be in this one, and I saw Silvio in New York, 10th place as a 212. Didn't look to me like the old Silvio, but that was May. He's had June, July. He's had close to 3 months to, improve, get his old look back, and let's see what happens.
If you remember what I said at the New York Pro preview, I said I think he's just had such a long time off. He's going to get better as the shows go on, and that's exactly what happened. The last show he did, where did he got 3rd? Was it?
Was it the Indy Pro?
Indy Pro. He looked a lot better. I think he's just done what like Tony Freeman and Max Charles would do. That they just need more time back when you've had that many years away, and and you just need time back. Back competing. So he's doing the right thing by doing more shows. Right. He's actually he started friend requested me on Facebook, and he follows me on Instagram, and he likes a lot of my stuff and puts comments sometimes. I think he appreciated what I said about him at the Indy Pro. He sent me a message a few months ago, and he said, "Oh, thank you for saying that." And he says, you're right. I will get better. So yeah, I just he just needs a bit more time training and prepping and getting time to get the separation back and a bit of the fullness back. But I definitely see glimpses of the old Silvio there, and I think because
he's not. It's not like he was injured or anything. It's nothing that he should be able to recapture the look, even though he's somewhere between the ages of 40 and 55. Nobody really knows. He's in there somewhere. We'll never know how old he is. Let's move on to Classic. I picked this guy to win in Vancouver. I was wrong, but I'm picking him again. I'm picking Henri Pierre Arnaud, who was 2013 overall Canadian bodybuilding champion. Mm-hmm. And this is his first year as Classic. He was actually in the Tampa last year. He was 3rd place, remember?
Fantastic. He was fantastic. I'm absolutely amazed that he's made Classic because his shoulders are that wide. He's got his shoulder to waist ratio is absolutely mind blowing. Yeah. So I'm amazed. I've only seen a couple of pictures from the Vancouver. Yeah. So I'm interested to see, because I remember last year I was thinking he just needs a bit more legs because he's a big, tall, wide guy. Yes. So I'm interested to see if how much weight he's had to cut, because when I heard he was going Classic, I was like, he's too big. I mean, he's a really big framed, large kid. So what did you think? How do you think he looked as a Classic?
I liked him better as a bodybuilder because he was a little fuller, because he's already a tall guy with really. He's got a lot of, like you said, those wide clavicles. So it's a lot of, and long limbs. It's a lot of space to fill out. I was actually surprised. I like his physique a lot. I was surprised he's been able to do as well as he did as an open bodybuilder, because size-wise, if you're looking at just, mass per square inch, he doesn't really compare that favorably to some of these bigger guys, but the shape was just beautiful.
But last year's Tampa was a good lineup. We were there. You had Rashid Oldacre in 8th.
Yeah.
And this wasn't like a low level show. He was 3rd. I mean, there was a guy from Kuwait who got 5th. I mean, he was awesome. And you had and Nguyen, say. It was a stacked show. I mean, there was guys that were really good pros. The one guy from Europe that didn't even make top 10. I mean, these were seriously good bodybuilders. It was like a deep lineup. So to get 3rd, it's like. But as a classic, does he not look a bit stringy? Or
I think he does. But I would say it's because I was used to seeing him as a bodybuilder. If I had never seen him, if I had to guess, he's probably down about 15 pounds. If I had to really try to put a number on it.
On a guy that size, that's nothing. He's
True.
probably still going to look. And the thing is, he does kind of have a classic shape. He's got a V taper. Right. He's got wide shoulders. He's got a small waist. And the thing is, I liked his physique last year at the Tampa because I liked the aesthetics.
Yeah.
So, and maybe if he was like really super massed up, he would probably lose that. So, he's probably done the right thing by switching to classic. And if he doesn't look stringy and gangly as a classic, because how tall is he? He's quite tall, isn't he? Or has he just got long limbs?
No, I want to say he's about 6'2".
Right. So, thing is with the ratio and the weight limit, it all kind of evens out in the end, because the tall guys, they can fit more, they can be heavier, so.
Because he was like 240 on stage last year.
Yeah.
So he's probably he might be down like 10 pounds or something,
If he's 6'2", he's probably what I would imagine he could be. If Chris Bumstead can be 225 at like 5'10", 5'11", he's not going to be much smaller than 240.
Yeah, I think he's able. I think he could weigh as much as 240. I don't think he's going to have a trouble making the weight. I mean, maybe even last year he could have made the weight.
So he's going to be perfect classic, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I have him winning the classic at this show.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get him on a run line before we all have to. He's actually already down in Tampa, I believe, or he's getting there tomorrow. But I'm trying to get him on the run line before I take off. Who else is in the show? We got Amit Roy, who just took 2nd in Chicago to Wesley Vissers.
Yeah.
Amit, fantastic condition, very dense muscle. Arguments been made that he looks more like a bodybuilder, not as much like a classic. But I think, that like we were arguing about it on the forums because I thought he should have won, and you broke it down and said, no, mate, this is classic's a different criteria, wide shoulders, and the taller guys do seem to have an advantage in that, just because when you're 6 foot or above, you can have more of a V taper than if you're 5'4".
But then again, you still get these bodybuilder guys like Danny Hester, George Peterson, who for me, I don't really think what I would personally see as a classic physique. But Danny Hester's won the Classic Olympia. Right. George Peterson, 3rd place at the Olympia. And for me, I go, like Amit, I look at it and I think that's not really classic, but it's still, these guys still do very, very well. Yeah. So it is like, it's down to interpretation. Like for me, Wesley was classic. Yeah, and for me, it is a slightly different judging criteria. Just like women's physique is to female bodybuilding. You can't judge it exactly the same. It's not down to size, conditioning, symmetry. There are other factors that have to come into play. So, like I said, there's no reason why Amit couldn't potentially win this, or certainly get 2nd place, because, you might see him as a classic. I personally don't, but that's who's to say he won't win this.
Right. And I mean, you can also make the argument that there are guys in classic that are pure classic physique, and there are others that are more on the classic bodybuilder mode. And those two things aren't that different. They're not the same, but they're very closely related.
Look, some people don't think Brion is a total epitome of classic. They say, no, Chris Bumstead is more classic. That's right. Classic. Yeah. But Brion has beat him. He's beat him. Arash, I mean, is he really classic? But it's, like I said, it's down to your personal interpretation.
Right. It's still a new division. I think they're still figuring things out. But judging is obviously, this is what we argue about for 20, 30 years. The judging of these things, how they should be judged, and what the criteria should be. And we're never going to all agree, obviously, because we all have different things that we like.
Yeah, but I like the subjectivity of bodybuilding. That's what I love about it. That's not. It sends some people crazy, and they end up in real fights online. And to be honest, that's the thing that draws me in. I like the fact it's so subjective because it's not like sprinting where it's the first one past the line and it's where, it's not. That's what I like about it because it is so. You might like Lee Labrada, I might like Ronnie Coleman, and who's to say which one is better? I mean, it's and that's, like I said, people will always be debating these things. It's like people will say it's like Chris Bumstead, he's like the second coming of Barry DeMay, and then you've got Breon. I'm trying to think who he resembles really.
Wesley's are compared to Arnold constantly.
Yeah. He's and the thing is that how was the run line with Wesley anyway?
Great. He's very well spoken. He sounds like a TV announcer.
He's awesome, isn't he?
He's got this melodious voice. No, he's that kid's got star power. He's going to be a big deal.
And he puts out really, really good professional content, and it's like real stuff that people can, newcomers and new beginners and training can really relate to. And it's, these guys are sort of, they're taking on the responsibility of this new category, and they seem to be representing it so well. Breon, Chris Bumstead, Wesley, they really seem to take they really see themselves as ambassadors, because in some ways, there's many people that think classic is the future of bodybuilding. Personally, I don't think it is. I think there'll always be a room. The open guys will always be, the main attraction. But thing is, the classic is growing so fast. I mean, even at Olympia last year, it was the second year. And I mean, for me, it was you, me, and Steve at the Olympia last year. And come on, it was the main talking point. It was what everyone was wanting to talk about. It's maybe it is because we know that Phil's going to win. We know that so and so is going to win. We know that. And I think there's a lot of excitement around when there's more things you can speculate on. So
and we talk about it's the future, and I think it's the future in the sense that so many of the younger generation, that's what they're really attracted to. They see that, and that's what they want to model themselves after. If you're a 20-year-old kid now, and you see Chris Bumstead and Wesley Vissers on one side, and then you see Phil Heath and Big Ramy on the other side, you're thinking, what do I want to look like? What can I look like?
Yeah. Well, when I first got interested in bodybuilding, I mean, one of the first things I had a poster from Muscle and Fitness of Barry DeMay, and I had it on my on one of my wardrobe doors, and it was just him doing a side chest, and it's like, I looked at that and I thought, he's about 220, 230. I looked at my same height as me, and I thought that's a more attainable look than Lee Haney, because Lee Haney I couldn't relate to because he was just. It's like looking at Ronnie. I was never actually a huge fan of Ronnie when Ronnie was Mr. Olympia, because for me he was just like an alien. It wasn't attainable. But these guys now, you look at that and you think that's more of an attainable, and then maybe their girlfriends with them going, oh yeah, I'd love you to look like that guy, that Chris Bumstead guy. Oh, I don't want you looking like Ramy. Ugh, that's horrible.
Final side note on that: there's a 19-year-old kid at my gym doing his first Classic Physique show this weekend that Jose and David Henry are co-promoting together. And this kid is such a Chris Bumstead fan. He got the same exact tiger tattoo as Chris Bumstead. That's dedication. That's a fan right there.
He's got tiger.
Tiger, yeah. Well, it's not in honor of you, unfortunately.
He's gonna get Giles tattooed all over his back as well.
I like when you post the picture of the Tiger jumbo jet. That's pretty cool. Just a couple other guys I want to talk about in Classic. I was in Chicago, and a couple guys that impressed me. This Kwaku Dunkwa, used to call himself Eric, but now he goes by Kwaku, which I think is his middle name. He was fifth in Classic last year in Tampa, and he won the Masters Classic that they had in Tampa last year. And I just saw him take fifth again in Chicago. Another one that's more in the mold of a bodybuilder to me, but he does have a real small waist and nice round muscle bellies. He's a classic bodybuilder as far as I'm concerned, but this is the division for them. I mean, we're not going to throw guys like that in the open.
I tell you who I'm interested in seeing is Greg Rando, the blind open guy.
Yeah, I was going to talk about him. Yeah, because he's been around forever, and he had tried 212. I think he actually tried open originally because he's been a pro for a long time, and there was no 212. And yeah, he didn't have a lot of success at. He went back to natural federations, and he was, world champion in a couple of those. But I'm interested to see how he's going to do in classic, because he's always been right around that height and weight that they have for the parameters of that. And he's always had beautiful shape and a small waist.
Well, Jose said he used to share an apartment with him, and he said actually him being blind actually helped him to train better, because he had more of a connect. There was no ego, because he wasn't bothered about pushing ridiculously heavy amounts of weight. He was more about connecting with the muscle, and he said it actually probably helped his physique. Yeah. We had a pro open bodybuilder in UK called Ricky Welling.
I remember.
And he beat Zach Khan. He beat in 2002 he won the overall British finals. I mean, like I said, I think Zach was third, and there was, big. This is when the supers were really, really big guys, and this guy was huge. And it was a diamond dealer, but he was blind. He had to be led on stage. He was technically, legally, completely blind. So
he did New York Pro at least once, maybe more. I know I saw him.
He did a few pro shows. I think he did San Francisco. He did the British Grand Prix. Yeah. And he was, it was huge. It's just, I find it amazing how. I mean, imagine like squatting with 600 pounds on your back with your eyes shut.
Well, there was a story about Ricky. I don't know if you were the one that told me or McGuff, but one time the power went out at the gym and everybody left, and he's like the only one that stayed and kept training.
Yeah, he just carried on training.
Yeah, because Greg is not completely blind. He can see sort of like shadows and things, but not much. Mm-hmm. I actually got to train with him once years and years ago. It was an experience, because he had to sort of feel his way around the gym and. Wow. Feel how many pins he's putting the machines on, like count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and God, my props to that guy to be able to. It's such a visual sport to not be able to see how good you look.
And he's not driven by ego, because it's not about what he sees in the mirror and he's like, oh, look how amazing I am, or I want to get bigger, I want bigger shoulder. It's like it's such an unusual thing to be attracted to a visual sport, like you said, where it is about how you look. And also how you build your physique. It's like I can't do barbell curls unless I'm right in front of a mirror to see my form. And it's just amazing, absolutely. I just be curious to see how he does. It's just be great. It's great to see these kinds of people, representing things like disability on stage. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It really is. I just think I had the ataxia guy, Mr. No Excuses. What's his name? I forgot his name now. I forget his name. Yeah, he was in Muscle News Weekly, and it's the guy's got ataxia, and it's like a brain, body sort of connection thing. It's kind of
just is it similar like cerebral palsy?
Yes, yeah, very similar. It's like connection with the brain and the body, basically, which you kind of need if you want to be a bodybuilder, really. Yeah. But and that's why they call themselves like Mr. No Excuses. And I just think. The days when you think, oh, like tonight, my neck's a bit tight, and I'm thinking, should I go train? And maybe I'll just take a night off. And then you think about these guys, like Greg Rando and these kinds of guys, and you think, right, fuck, let's get to the gym,
What was my excuse again? So,
yeah.
Just a couple, I want to talk about two more guys here in the Classic, which is, I saw this guy in both Toronto, where he got third, and Chicago, where he got fourth. He's a brand new pro named Aaron Futel from Canada. Mm-hmm. Still needs to fill out a little bit. He's got beautiful shape, these crazy peak biceps, tiny little waist. He's just, I believe he'd been like a natural pro for a while, and he just moved over to, IFBB, and he's filling out slowly, but I think he's going to be someone to watch. Aaron Futel is going to be really good. And the other guy I want to mention, because I saw him in Chicago, and he was detained in the UK. He lives in Spain. He's from Russia. His name is Igor Gostyunian. I'm sure I'm butchering that. But Igor was making his way from Spain to Chicago, and he had to transfer in London, Heathrow, and they detained him about some immigration stuff to try to get. And he ended up being late for something made it. He missed Classic, and he ended up having to do Open, and it was disastrous. He took like 15th, but. I didn't know all that until after the show, and I talked to him for a couple minutes backstage. I said, dude, you should do Classic. He said, I was supposed to do Classic. This is what happened, and that's why I wasn't going to come all the way here and not compete, so I just did the Open.
Wow.
But he'll do pretty well. He's got really nice shape, small joints, nice little round muscle bellies.
But the good thing about Classic is, and the fact it's such a new class, you pretty much every single time you go to a Classic bodybuilding show, you're going to be guaranteed to see new faces.
Yeah.
And I think it's like you said, it's like you said with Kamal popping up in the Arnold. It's like that's what makes the sport gives it added excitement, because it's like when we were at the Arnold and that guy Courage who came third.
Yep, Courage Opera.
I was just like, whoa, look at this guy. I mean, once he sharpens up, he's got a beautiful physique, really nice symmetry and beautiful tie-ins, and and you just think it's sometimes it adds added fun to go into these shows, because you could get literally someone like Chris Bumstead who's turned pro as a super heavyweight bodybuilder and just thought, you know what, I'm around the Classic weight, maybe I'll just jump in Classic, or and you get guys coming up from 212, coming down from open,
yep.
And it's I'm always curious, like Hempierre, I know to see how they're going to look, so it's good. I love it. I love the class, and I think it's I just wish they'd do away with those stupid shorts.
I think that's coming eventually.
Do you think? I mean, even if they, I don't know. I think we know the criteria now. So, and these guys are dying, and things like glutes and hams and stuff. That's the part these guys work really hard to get. And maybe it is good that you can't see those areas, because sometimes bodybuilders are maybe judged too much on those areas. You got like guys like John De La Rosa turning up with shredded glutes, but then their back's completely smooth.
Right.
So I don't know. It's like I just don't like it. I just think it looks silly.
I agree, but yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, I don't think those shorts are ever going away.
Oh, no.
I know I don't like them either, but I think it's important to distinguish them from the bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Just like the board shorts, that's okay, that's men's physique. These little shorts, okay, here's the Classic guys, and then the little bikini shorts, well, here's our bodybuilders.
Do you know what I think they should do? They did this with because in the UKBFF before it split, the female figure in the UK was called Body Fitness Class. What they would do for the judging, all the girls would come out in the same standard black bikini.
Yeah.
And then for their later rounds, they were allowed to wear like the full sequin, sparkle, whatever. I think maybe what they should do for the men's Classic, for the judging, they should wear the shorts. And then when they come out for their posing routine, let them wear normal trunks. What do you think of that?
That would work, except now that they have a confirmation round at the night show, at the finals, where they judge them all over again. So that screws up the whole plan.
Yeah, just keep changing it.
I don't even know why they do the confirmation round. I'm going to get blasted for this by somebody, I'm sure, but I don't get it. Why do they? I think it's for the people that didn't go to the judging, so they can see the guys judged.
Yeah. And remember with the Arnold and how different the guys looked from the Classic judging to the Classic night, and that lighting over at the new theatre where they put the show, I was like, everyone looks so much better at the night show. Like that Courage, I didn't even really notice him that much at the judging. When he came out for the night show, I was like, fucking hell, who's this? He's amazing, So all the 212 guys looked so much better, and different lighting and stuff like that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe stick with it.
Yeah, at the expo, everybody was off. I was like, oh my god, nobody got in shape. Nobody came in shape for this show. And then I saw them on the stage, like, oh my god, they all whipped themselves into shape in 8 hours.
And I put like 20 pounds of muscle on.
Yeah, but true. Well, that is it. So my picks, to recap, I have Alexis Roland winning the Open. I have Nicolas Verlude winning the 212. And I have Henri Pierre Arnaud most likely winning Classic. Those are my picks for this. We'll see how it shakes out. I've been wrong many, many, many times, so I could be wrong this time too.
I'm gonna say Rodriguez for the win.
Okay.
I think Max Charles second.
Yeah.
Alexis third.
Okay.
Nicholas, I think he's gonna bring the house down. I think he's absolutely gonna walk this one. I think it's gonna be. I think people are going to be really shocked when they see him, because he is, like I said, I remember when I put him in a column years ago when he was a junior, and he actually thanked me when we did that little Skype thing the other week, and he said, Giles, you were one of the first people to reach out to me. He says, and give me my first bit of magazine publicity.
Yeah.
And I'm really thrilled to see him, because I'm so pleased, because he literally couldn't afford to do Tampa, because flights are a couple of grand all the way from Switzerland, because he's had to go Switzerland. He was in Heathrow today. Yeah. Because I saw a picture on his, and I messaged him. and then he's flying out tonight. I think he comes back on Saturday or Sunday morning because Patrick hasn't gone with him. He's gone. I think his mum's gone with him because he was going to go by himself. And I said, look, if I had cash, I'd have gone with you, mate. I'd have gone out because we had such a good time at the Tampa show last year, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Okay. All right, well, that's our picks. That's our predictions. We'll see how it happens. We'll see what happens. I'm missing Giles Thomas to the show, but everybody look forward to Big Mike Cox, who he's going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time together at the show.
Cool. Yeah. Can we give a plug to Muscle News Weekly for this week's episode?
Also, I think you want to mention there's a whole new interview series starting with the Rascal.
Yeah.
And what do we call? What's she calling that? Chick Chat?
Rosie Rascal's Chick Chat.
Yeah. Which is great because I've really dropped the ball on women interviews. And it's not intentional. I have nothing against women. I don't typically come up with the best questions for them. I admit it. I don't know. But I think Rosie's going to do an awesome job with this. I'm so glad she's doing it. And the Jamie Pinder is going to go up either today or tomorrow.
Tonight. The thing's done. Because Rosie was doing her segment, and I said, look, now we've got the Skype like you're doing now with the Skype recording. Yeah. I said, can you keep it to like 6 to 8 minutes, and then I'll just put it straight into the show. And she comes in like half, and she goes, oh, Giles, that was 34 minutes. Yeah. And I was like, right, well, I'll tell you what. So I was in the kitchen, and I had an idea, and I said, do you know what? I'm going to put in the first few minutes into Muscle News Weekly, and then what we'll do is we'll put the Muscle News Weekly up on the Monday morning as normal, and then Tuesday we'll just post the full, unedited, raw, and then we can put in Rosie's Rascal branding and her products in. I said, and I said, we'll do that every single week because otherwise it's a nightmare to try and know which bits to edit.
If I had to pick like 6 minutes out of all these Ron lines, like you can only make these 6 or 8 minutes long, I'd be at a loss. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. So anyway, so obviously that's going up every Tuesday now. We're trying to get Shanique before Rosie goes to Japan tomorrow because she's guest posing with Sarah McMillan. Yeah. But obviously because Rosie's away until next week, she's in Japan, heat wave over there, 46 degrees. Nice. I didn't want to skip an episode because it's getting close to the Olympia and there's so much going on at the moment. So on Friday, I'm going to go down to Kamal El-Gardni, the Arnold Classic winner. Yeah. He's going to be my co-host, so I'm going to do a photo shoot with him because I've got my new lighting equipment and I'm doing photography lessons. I'm going to do a photo shoot with him doing arms. I'm going to do a little bit of filming, and then we're going to go into his office and we're going to record Muscle News Weekly. And I've also got it's going to be a 212 special. I've got Ricardo Correa coming on. I've got Charles Dixon coming on, and I've got Sean Clarida.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's going to be an action-packed episode. We're not even going to realize Rosie's not there.
No chicks allowed in this episode.
It's an all-dude episode. No, that's going to be cool. Yeah, I've never heard Kamal really, commentate and stuff, so it'll be really interesting to see what he has to say.
Yeah, so that'll be great, because like I said to Kamal, I said, because like you said, no one's really talking about him, and the guy has won the Arnold Classic. He beat Jose, Dave Henry, Samir Trudy, Charles Dixon. He won it, so... Right. And he's only like a couple of hours down the road, and of course and afterwards, I think we're going back to his family house, and I'm eating some Libyan food. So
okay.
Yeah, so his wife's going to cook us all a big meal. So so that'll be a really good. And then I'll come back I'll come back that night, and then I think Sunday I'll just be editing the show ready to go up Monday.
I think you should grab just a little bit of footage of the Libyan food, the spread.
Oh, I'm gonna.
I'm curious to see what I have no idea what kind of cuisine that they're eating, these people. So.
Do you remember the video he showed us at the Arnold when we were at the hotel, and he showed
camel? Aren't they going to eat a camel or something?
He showed us a video of this celebration, this big party in the streets, and he said, and he showed me the video, and you were filming because you had your thumb over the thing.
Yeah.
And he said, and there was basically a camel tied onto the back of this, a live camel tied to the back of this truck, and I went. What the hell are they doing with the camel? And he went. What do you think they're going to do?
Dinner. Poor camel.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could eat camel, but I guess you can eat just about anything, right?
Yeah. It certainly gave me the hump.
Oh, God. All right. Well, that ought to do it for this one. So that was our preview of the Tampa Pro. Appreciate you, as always, Giles Tiger Thomas. Looking forward to the Muscle News Weekly that you're going to be doing with Kamal El-Gardni. Looking forward to Rosie Rascal Hart's new show, Chick Chat.
Chick Chat.
Chick Chat with Rosie. Yeah, it's a lot of great stuff to look forward to. So, and of course, I have to remind you guys that MD, check out all our coverage. It's going to start Thursday night. I'll be doing all kinds of interviews at the athlete check-in, meet and greet thing with my man Hector Mendoza. High Tech is our sponsor. So we got Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, 3 full days of coverage. I think I'm even going to take a bunch of sneaky little videos or photos at the pool party. We'll see what I can grab there. Some thongs. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully the muscle vodka will be flowing freely, and I'll get some cool stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that ought to do it. Thanks, everybody. Check out our coverage from the Tampa Pro over these next few days, especially Friday and Saturday. And thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.